Hello everyone, my name is Deberber. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to the channel and you're here for Raid, I do have a Let's Play going on of this free-to-play account, so if you feel obligated to, go ahead and check those videos out if you want to as well. But these are probably 5 beginner tips that new players should look at, and this is mainly for like a free-to-play account, so kind of grinding tips and stuff. But the first thing is choosing your starter champion. So for this account, on my other account, I did choose Kale, the Dark Elf starter. But on this one, I did choose Elhain. So we're going to go ahead and just like kind of go over the benefits of those. So I'm going to kind of start out with the worst one. And that's actually Gaelic, who is a barbarian. And the reason why I started out with Gaelic is obviously, if you do have him, he's still a really good champion, as you can see. But he is probably the weaker of the 4. Each of them do get the increased ally HP in battles by 15%, each of the 4. But he's just not quite as strong as the others. He does have to rely on support. And his cooldowns are actually a little bit higher than some of the others as well. So that's why I'm going to rank Gaelic down at the bottom. The next two are kind of tied, and so one is Aethel, and she actually is she does rely on armor quite a bit, and her cooldowns are like Gaelic's, except she is, for some reason, she just does play a little bit better. Yeah, her ratings are also better as well. And these are her maxed out stats. But one, attacking an enemy 3 times is better than Gaelic's 2 times, and this does have a 75% chance of placing a weaken on her. So Aethel is better than Gaelic. And then the other one who's kind of on par, especially for early game. Early game, if you want to just blaze through things, is Elhain. And she is, like I said, great early game. Valley of Death will probably crush any enemy you come across, and I have it up to where it's only a 3-turn or a 2-turn, so I guess you can actually do that with the others as well. I didn't realize that, but Elhain is great early on, and Aethel, fairly decent, does rely on other characters a bit more than Elhain would if you're going to farm or clear levels early on. And then last but not least is Kale, the Dark Elf, and definitely by far the best starter champion you can choose. Poison is actually fairly effective in this game, especially if you level these up more. And Acid Rain actually does a very decent amount of damage as well, and it attacks all enemies as well. So if I had to do an official ranking, I would probably go Kale, Elhain, Aethel, and then Gaelic. And so the next thing I want to talk about, something that people kind of overlook, is artifact sets. So you can get these by completing numerous campaign missions. So each campaign usually gives a decent amount of set of armor. So as you can see, artifact life for the first one, attack for the second campaign, then you have some defense for the third, and critical rate for the fourth. And each one, as you can see, they each have these little numbers right here, the different types of artifacts that they can drop. So that's accuracy, that's speed. So that's important to look out for if you really want armor and you're doing your farming, which I'll get into a little bit later. So artifacts, each set requires 2 to give the attack or whatever buff it is to the character. Right now I have almost all attack on Elhain except Lifesteal, and Lifesteal actually gives health back to the champion after they attack. So that's actually fairly effective. You don't get those until, well, you can get them through daily login rewards, or can get them through the, I believe, eighth step or eighth campaign levels. So we obviously have farmed a lot of defense and attack and health. And the important thing to look at is not, even though this is health, it might not necessarily give health. So that is something, it would still give the health buff, but not all are going to give like HP. So HP does not necessarily grant additional HP. As you can see, these common boots just grant attack. And if we level them up 4 times, since they are common, they don't start out with as many bonus stats as, say, an uncommon, rare, or epic would. So see, these grant speeds, they don't even grant HP. But with epics, you start out with 3 stats, so that's outlined in the purple. Commons are gray, uncommons are green, rares blue, and legendaries gold. I think we actually do have one legendary piece of armor. Yeah, these boots right here. So I'll go ahead and just show you that. So when you go to upgrade them, we do have all 4 substats unlocked. So I'm actually really lucky to have those, even though they're only 2 stars. But it still grants all that additional thing, all those additional stats right off the bat. And like I said, I don't have enough armor really to get more than like 1, but that is really important later on in the game. But so like I said, 2 sets would equal like 1 of these buffs to your champion. The next thing I want to talk about is actually really early on in the beginning, after the first campaign. And you are probably going to get, you're going to get 2 different characters out of this first campaign. And that is Crusader and Sniper. Sniper, and you maybe want to level up like both of them at the same time. But the really only one that is worth upgrading, unless you did Kyle and just want another Dark Elf to do the what are they called? The faction wars. I would not recommend leveling up Sniper at all. But Crusader actually starts out, he has like really good stats and pretty good early on in the game. As you can see, the campaign, he's great at clearing, and he's great at all the other dungeons as well. So he actually is highly worth upgrading, and his rally attack means that another ally is going to get to come in and attack with them. And that's only a 3-turn cooldown, so that's very useful for clearing like harder enemies. So Crusader and over Sniper just starting off, and likely they are going to be a magic. Your starter champion is likely going to be a magic, so having a power champion early on is going to be fairly useful. So like I said, this is more or less a free-to-play guide. So one of the things that you're probably going to need are 3-star rare champions, because you're not going to be opening a bunch of ancient shards right away. You're not going to be opening any void shards either, so you're not going to have a void character for a long time. But the easiest way is, and energy is also going to be a major problem. So the best thing to do is, especially early on when you have a lot of, I don't know, say quests and challenges completed, you are going to have a lot of energy. So the best thing to do is actually probably to level up your 2 stars. So that only takes to level 20 and probably only takes about 80 energy at most, depending on what they started at. So that's what I did for Elheim, is I leveled up 2 2-stars, which most of these are not going to be worth keeping around. I'm just going to let you say that right there. You really only want to start keeping rare or better. unless you are a big fan of Faction Wars and want to keep some around just for those and level those up, but they don't grant tremendous amounts based on like what it would take to level up the 2 stars to make it worth it. So you're going to want to farm, and what I mean by farming is choose a campaign mission where either stage 3 or stage 6, because those drop the best rewards in like the most reasonable amount of time for what it's worth. And you're going to want to farm. So we have Elheim here, and say you want to farm your 2 stars. So we'll go ahead and just put, well, that's actually fairly weak. So we'll go ahead and just put these 2 in. So while we're here, I actually will probably mention that there are 4 types of champions. You have Magic, Spirit, Power, and Void. And so this is pretty self-explanatory, but Power beats Spirit, Spirit beats Power, and Power beats Magic. And then Void has no weaknesses or no like special attack bonus to any of them, so they're kind of just in a set of their own. So if we go ahead and farm this, hopefully it goes by fairly quickly. Go ahead and put that on auto just to save time and increase the speed up to 2 times, which is the max you can do. So yeah, the Valley Death will probably come back on the next turn and make it fairly quick. And even if your heroes do die, they still do get the additional XP. So I'll show you that since you just died. But farming is basically adding XP to your characters to increase a level of another character or champion that you aren't going to be using anymore. And so farming is basically just playing and replaying campaigns. And another benefit of replaying campaigns is, as you can see, each one drops at least 1 rare champion, or has the chance to drop that. So for Catacombs, you have Sorceress, who's actually a very good rare character. So very beneficial to look out for which ones that you actually want to use, and go ahead and farm those, unless you're really just trying to blaze through it. And see, each one drops rares. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is really doing your daily chests and weekly quests. So I don't think a lot of people understand the extreme benefit of doing this, especially for a free-to-play account. But as you can see, daily, each time you do daily quests, you get 10 gems. And there are 7 of those that are all fairly easy to do. And then weekly quests, if you complete all of these just on a weekly basis, you're going to get an Ancient Shard, which is rare, epic, or legendary. And then why that's important is because it adds into your monthly quest. And each one of these are fairly simple to do. Each month in this is 30 days. It's not based on like a real calendar. But the claim reward for completing daily quest 30 times is probably extremely important. So you get a Void Shard, and you're probably going to get 1 Void Shard before that through the campaign battles at 252. So you probably should get that after completing all that. But the monthly, if you complete all those monthly ones, I'll go ahead and show you again, is you get that Sacred Shard, and that's guaranteed an epic or legendary champion. So that's going to be really important because we're not going to be buying any of these other packs. And yeah, I mean, even though it's super tempting, especially for some of these, like only $30 there, and then which other one? This one's only $5 and you get a guaranteed 5 rare champions. But like I said, this is more for free to play, and we do have some Hero Legend carryover. So I think that's going to conclude the first video of tips and tricks for like early on in-game Raid Shadow Legends. I don't think there's really anything. Oh, there is one more thing. Dungeons, a lot of people might not know, but dungeons is what you get when you ascend your champion. So ascended champions are indicated by the purple stars. So each star that's purple represents how many times you ascended their champion. And as you can see, each champion requires a specific type of whatever, elixir, I guess is what you would want to call it, to ascend them. And they basically upgrade their base stats. So I'll go ahead and show you with Temptress. So, or you don't want to ascend without. Where is Sorceress? Can I not ascend her? No, I cannot. But each dungeon gives a specific type. So the further on, the more like the higher level potion that you're going to get. So early on, you are just going to need those, and then so Spirit gives out Spirit potions. Void will give out Void potions. The Arcane Keep is you need these for ascending every single champion, whether it's the greater ones, the lesser ones, or the superior ones. So the arcane ones are something you're going to want to grind out as well. And if you just want a specific one, you're going to want to focus on these 5 or these other 4 Void, Force, Magic, Keep, and each corresponds with what the type of champion they have. The Minotaur's Labyrinth guarantees you scrolls. So if you go ahead here, each one gives like a different set of scrolls. So, and they will only be applied to one of the 4 or however many champions that you bring into this. So what I mean by scrolls are extremely useful in upgrading their masteries. And masteries grant buffs to offense, defense, or support. Each one, or each tier, you can choose between each one. But each one is going to require a specific amount of scrolls. So as you can see, the tier 2 are already up to 30. And then we have 80, so it is a grind to do that. So my last point is that Raid Shadow Legends, especially if you're playing on mobile, is a little bit different than a lot of other mobile games in that it's not an idle game at all. The only thing that is even potentially idle about this is the sparring pit, but that takes forever to upgrade your champions. As you can see, only a level 18, and it's already up to 3 hours to upgrade them, just freely. So it is a game that you're probably going to want to spend, I don't know, let's say an hour, at least an hour a day on, or more. Preferably, you probably want to spend 2.5 hours just grinding it out, or run out of, or just go until you have HP, or energy, don't have any energy left, or arena tokens or something like that. And as you can see, you do get fairly generous rewards for playing, especially the silver right there at the 90 minutes and the energy refill at 60. So go ahead and play for an hour, get your energy refill, and go ahead and do it again, and then come back the next day for your progression rewards and start that process all over again. But I do hope you enjoyed this kind of hopefully short tips and tricks video of starting Raid Shadow Legends, especially for a free-to-play account where you don't have the benefit of getting a bunch of great heroes right away. So go ahead and leave comments if you have any questions or want me to talk about a specific thing or a specific champion. I'll go ahead and pull this up and tell you the benefits of what I see out of these right here. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and hope you stick around and go ahead and watch the Let's Play if you want to. But if not, I'll see you all later.